I'm going to talk about a disappearing nine patch. Do you know what that is? I'd have heard of it before, but I was confused by I don't get it. Disappearing nine patch? Stay tuned and I'll fill you in on what I learned. Hi, I'm Wendy J. Haney and I'm here to help you discover the joy of quilting. The joy of quilting to make things for yourself, for others. There's nothing better than making a homemade gift for somebody and seeing how happy it makes them. Let's get going. Disappearing nine patch. Huh? Well, it's really pretty simple, though it's disguised. So to start with, basically you start with a nine patch. So we're gonna put together a quick nine patch here, and I'll give you some more information here shortly, but I'm gonna lay this out first. So, oops, I'm getting my squares mixed up. There we go. You start with a nine patch. And then what we're going to do is once we have it all sewn together, you're going to cut it in half here, and you're going to cut it in half this way. And then you can start twisting those blocks into all sorts of a variety of designs. And guess what? This nine patch disappears. You can't tell that you started with a nine patch. Therefore, the disappearing nine patch block. Right? Okay. Easiest thing to do is start with charm packs. They're 5-inch squares. But you could actually use any size you want. You just need to be aware that whatever size square you have, the middle is going to be cut into 4. So a 5-inch block is going to give you 2-inch squares in the middle. So that's I would guess you probably wouldn't want to go much smaller than that. But hey, if you like little stuff like my friend Diane, then you might want to go littler. Charm packs are fantastic for this. I have a number of the Over the Rainbow Batiks by Moda. Wide variety of colors in here. Yeah, just a huge variety. And I've had them in my stash for a while, and I thought, you know what? Now is the perfect time to get these used up. One thing to be aware of that I've never been caught with before. I went and started getting things figured out, and I had decided to use some extra fabric for some of my squares, so I cut those into 5-inch squares, and then I put them next to the charm pack squares. They didn't match up. So much for making this simple for me by being able to take 5-inch blocks already cut. Nope, these are not 5-inch. They're a tad bigger, like 5 1/4. So I have to trim them all down. Not happy. But I did check the rest of my charm packs I happen to have in my stash, and they're all 5. So be aware. Pay attention, don't assume that they are perfect. So what you could do is you could take an entire multiple charm packs, this one has 42 squares, and do your entire nine patch with your charm pack. Yep, that'll be just fine. It'll be very, very scrappy. Or you could go to your stash and get all your 5-inch blocks or your fabric that's big enough to cut 5-inch squares and do a very scrappy quilt. I wanted something a little more structured. So what I did was I want and you're going to see how it turns out when we're done, but I wanted to have a light color for my outside blocks and a dark accent color. So I picked out these two colors that I felt went well with the majority of the fabrics in my charm pack. So what we do is we're going to lay out our nine patch, where my light colors are outside, middle. My accent is in the middle, and then my charm pack, or my scrappy, is around the outside. And then what we do is we sew it together. So the easiest thing to do is to get these laid out and just take them like this, flip them over, and if you're a pinner, usually I am, in this case I'm not, you just flip them over and get them lined up, and then the bottom row, put at the bottom, then stack up the next square, and then put the top one on top. There we go. You got a nice pile to go to the sewing machine. Then on your last squares, bottom, middle, top. There we go. We're going to take these all to the sewing machine, and we can chain piece them in such a way that it will be very, very easy to do. So I'm going to leave these here because I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so basically what I did is I went to the sewing machine and I chained piece them. The middle ones went on the top, and then I just sewed them. Bang, bang, bang. I did not, as you can see, I did not cut the threads in between them. So that way, if I'd actually been at the sewing machine and took the other pile of fabrics over with me, all I would have to do is, after I finish these three, I could open each one up and pull from the top, bingo, bingo, bongo, and now I've got the next ones. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll be right back. Now, when you come back, bingo, look at there. Your pieces are all lined up. They're all connected together exactly the way they need to be finished piecing. Now, for my sewing machine, I could have just left them this way and worked with them. Personally, I like to trim the little thread in between it as I work with them. The middle squares, rows, you want to press, and you can just finger press. That's why you can do all of this at your sewing machine. Just finger press your seams to the middle, your accent piece. Because I have fingernails, I can get them pressed pretty dang good. And then your other rows, you're going to press to the outside. Get that laid out. There we go. A little bit of a bugger there. Now, so now you've got them finger pressed. You just flip them over and you nest your seams. So your corners, your seams are going to fit very, very nicely together. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but you just, yeah, it's not going to focus. Sorry. But you nest them right next to each other. That's why you press one seam one direction and the other, that when you lay them on top of each other, you can get them nice and snug and happy in between each other. And there we go. And I'm a pinner. Oops, I don't have my little pins over here. But in this case, once I'm nesting my seams, I actually do prefer to pin to make sure they stay put. So I do that, get my edges nice and neat, and I would go stitch that. And then I would come back and I would clip this one and this one. I'd finger press again, and then I'd sew this on. And bingo, guess what? You now have your 9 patch. Yep, it is that simple. So I put it in the pile. So now that you have your 9 patch, you need to cut it. Yep, this in the middle should be a 4.5-inch square. Meaning, if you want to cut right down the middle, you should be able to line up your seam with the 2.25 mark of your ruler. So what I like to do is take my ruler and get one line on my seam here. The other should be a 1/2 mark up on top, and then my 1/4 inch over here. And then I try and kind of make sure it's the same all the way along. So basically I'm using my seams to make sure I'm in the center of that block. And we cut it. Then you can just keep it in place, don't touch it. If you touch it, then just cut each side independently. Don't try and put them back together and cut them. It just gets messy. So once again, we're going to line things up. 1, 2 1/4. there we go. Now, our 9 patch has kind of disappeared. Here's the cool thing though. You could do lots of things with this block. You could actually leave it like this if you really wanted to, but it seems a little boring, don't you think? You could flip it. Like that. There we go. That's kind of cool. Cool thing about this is, well, this one you have a seam matching. Actually what you do is, let's see, you could do that one. There we go, that's kind of similar. Just twist and turn them however you like. The biggest thing is once you do your first block and you have it laid out the way you like it, use it as a template to make sure you're twisting all the rest of them the same way. Here, in this way, you're not matching any seams. Well, you are. You're matching these seams and these seams. But you can also do it in such a way that, let me show you my other block. So basically, play with it, twist them, turn them, find what you like. I did it in such a way that makes it very, very easy for a beginner, because other than this seam here, when you sew 2 sides together, you're not matching any seams. So I twisted it in such a way that none of my seams match. And I'm actually pretty happy with that. Yeah, so this is going to be my template such that as I finish others, so let's see. We're gonna lay this one out so it's similar. Move that down, that. If I had sewn the other one, goes this way. This is why you need to, actually let's do it this way. I don't have enough video space. But when you get a few blocks together, you start seeing kind of a pattern. This is why I went with a dark piece in the middle, basically as my accent. And as you start putting your blocks together, you're going to start seeing them angle across your quilt. And it's really pretty cool, which is the same with the light. So I really like this design, so this is the way I'm going to go with it. So with that, if you want different ideas on how they can be twisted and turned, go to Google and search on disappearing 9 patch images. That way it will show you a whole bunch of images of different ways that you can lay out a disappearing 9 patch. The blocks turn out to be 13.5 inches unfinished. So that means they would be a 13-inch block finished. Really great quilt block to do scrappy. Like I said, use up a bunch of those scraps if you have a ton of them, because you need a lot of 5-inch squares, or use charm packs and your accent pieces. Yeah, it's very handy. Yeah, and it would look totally different. My original thought was I was going to use this charm pack and just have it totally scrappy, because I was going to do a baby quilt. But then I realized if I was doing it that way and trying to show you, you just weren't going to be able to see the potential of adding light colors and an accent and all the cool things you could do with it. But if you don't want to mess with that, go with your charm packs. The other thing is, as you go through your charm pack, sometimes you might find a color that very closely matches your accent piece. And I did. So there are a few colors in my pack that were really, really close to the accent piece that I decided, I think I'm going to pull those out. I'm going to fly in here. I think we're going to pull those out and not use them. I might use this one, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use that one. So, leave it, take it out, do what you want. Hope you found that helpful. Take care. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. You can follow me by doing one, subscribing to this YouTube channel, hitting the bell icon on the subscribe button so you're notified every time I drop a new video. But you can also find me over on Facebook, Wendy J. Haney. So facebook.com/Wendy J. Haney. Also, I have a Facebook group for people that love needlework, books, wine, all sorts of things also. The name of the group is called Life Fulfilled, Quilting, Needlework, Wine. Basically, you can't miss it. It's facebook.com/group/Life Fulfilled. You'll be able to find it. You can also find me over on my website, wendyjhaney.com. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate all your comments and feedback that you're providing me. Take care.